Fall is here at South Dakota State University. The air is getting colder, the leaves are falling, setting the perfect scene for SDSU homecoming. Here on campus, our homecoming is called Hobo Day, which is part of Hobo Week. Here to speak today about Hobo Day is committee member Kelsey Ehrenberg. Thanks for being here today with me, Kelsey.
Yeah, thanks for letting us come in.
So I think it's really important that we kind of give students a little bit of Hobo Day 101 here. You know, like half the student body has not experienced a true, real Hobo Day in the flesh. So Hobo Day has been a really long-standing tradition here at SDSU.
Yes.
You know, the first one was in the year 1912. So can you give me a little bit of like a history lesson here as to how Hobo Day came about and why it's so important?
Hobo Day was actually a tradition that started at another university, and one of our SDSU alumni noticed it and thought it would be a great thing to bring back to SDSU. And obviously that was a good idea because it has been loved ever since 1912. So the beginnings of SDSU's Hobo Day started with the nightshirt parade. So SDSU students would go in their nightshirts and go meet up with the incoming football team at the train tracks. And so they would guide them into town, building up suspension for the football game, for the homecoming celebration, the way it was back then. And so that's kind of the origins of it. And ever since then, it's kind of transitioned into all of our different events. The Hobo Day Parade has transitioned and evolved. So that's kind of the basic startings, but it's definitely continued to improve into what it is today.
And there not only is homecoming a tradition in itself, but there are so many pieces through homecoming that have stayed as a tradition as well. Like, for example, Hobo Day garb, you know, you wear, like, it's so cool to wear, like, so many buttons from, like, the different years. Yes. We also have the Bummobile, which is on display at the Student Union.
It is a Model T Ford, original Model T Ford, yep.
And I want to say it's not from the year 1912, is it?
Yeah, 1912.
That is so legit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, students, if you're walking by the Student Union, it's on display both outside and inside. You can take a look at that. And also, close by to the Bummobile is a huge statue of both Weary Will and Dirty Lil. So, can you tell me a little bit about who they are and why they're important?
Yeah, so Weary Will and Dirty Lil are our Hobo Day mascots. And so they are kind of what we represent or take our inspiration from when it comes to our garb. The term hobo itself actually comes from the term like homeward bound. And so we as college students, like, we are homeward bound, right? Like, we're here to find passions and friends and careers and interests and where we want to live. And so it's really representative of us, just kind of that continuous journey in search of what you're going to do next, which is really fun and exciting. And so the term hobo to us is a very positive thing. It's that constant journey. And so we really like having Weary Will and Dirty Lil as our mascots because they just represent that constant journey.
And the idea behind homecoming, too, is to bring back the alumni to make sure that they're homeward bound. You know, we always wander. We're never totally lost, but we always can gather for Hobo Day, you know, October 23rd this year. So even though it's still a few weeks away, we have some events coming up here really soon. Thursday, October 14th, kind of kicks everything off, and it's a great way for students to get ready, to get dressed up, and kind of get a feel for the aesthetic as to what you wear on Hobo Day. Tell me a little bit about what you have planned, Kelsey.
Yeah, so on Thursday, October 14th, we're going to have Hobo Gear Prep Night, and that's going to be happening at the market stage, so in the Union, in the marketplace, at 5 p.m. And so what we do there is we work with some local shops in town, our local secondhand stores, so Goodwill, Trends, just for some examples. And so we get all kinds of clothing items from them, hobo-themed. So we have all kinds of things from bottoms to tops to jackets to shoes. We also have a button maker now, so buttons are a very integral part of your Hobo Day outfit. The more buttons you have, the better. We love them. And so we have a button maker there, so you can make all your own customized buttons, whatever you want it to look like, whatever you want it to say. And so, like I said, that'll be on the 14th. So that's just a good way to kind of prep yourself because you're going to want those outfits, especially for some of our other events.
Awesome. And not only can you get stuff there, but there's also apparel at the bookstore with this year's Hobo Day logo. It changes every year.
Yes.
So you can get like t-shirts, things like that. But you can also get a button. One thing that's really cool is to collect buttons from your different Hobo Days that you've been able to participate in. And sometimes they usually have them from years past too, if you kind of want to dig into some of those. So Monday, October 18th kicks off Hobo Week. And we have Bum-A-Meal. And Kelsey, you specifically coordinate Bum-A-Meal. And I think it's one of the coolest traditions that we have here at SD State. So tell me about what Bum-A-Meal is like. Students are going to love this. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. So Bum-A-Meal is definitely a fan favorite every year. So kind of the gist of it is, from the student perspective, you and a group of at least 4 people will sign up. And then you'll submit a form, and then we as the Hobo Day Committee will pair you with a host home. So host homes are people in the Brookings community that have chosen to be host homes to host you for a meal. So on Monday, October 18th, which is the first day of Hobo Week, you will come to the VBR in the Union at 5. We'll get you all checked in, get you the address of your host home and some names, and we'll send you out at about 6. And then you're going to go to that host home's house. You'll know which one it is because we'll give you directions, and they'll also have one of our good Hobo Day signs that says, I believe it says, "We feed hobos." Yep. So you'll know exactly where you're going. And then you'll go there and you'll just get to interact with the community members, get to know them, get a free meal, which is always a plus. And it's just a lot of fun. It's very important that you show up in that amazing hobo gear that you put together, so that the community members can really have fun getting to know you. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a cool tradition. What does the rest of the week look like in terms of events?
Yeah, so the next day, Tuesday the 19th, we'll have Bum Fire, which is going to happen in the backyard. The backyard is located behind the S-Jack, so the Student Jackrabbit Athletic Complex, which is connected to the football stadium. So it'll be on the north end of that. That'll be at 9 p.m. Basically just a giant bonfire, right? Like some of you may have experienced at high school homecomings the burning of something, like a letter or a mascot or something. So we're going to have the burning of the SD, which is going to be a lot of fun. Some snacks, some stuff to do there. And then Wednesday the 20th, we're going to have Bum Over. So Bum Over is also a cool, long-standing tradition. So that's going to be in the VBR in the Union at 7:30. And Bum Over is a competition where you can form groups of students and you'll compete to build the best, the tallest, the most creative, whatever it is, cardboard shanty, basically. So we'll provide the cardboard and the duct tape. You just need to bring some friends. We've had students replicate the Campanile. We've had students build, I believe in 2019, we had some students build like a treehouse, basically. Like, it's so fun. It's so creative. And so there are, of course, prizes involved. But yeah, so that's a fun way to get involved as well. Then the next day on the 21st, we'll do a service event. This is actually kind of a new thing for us. So at 5 p.m. on Sylvan Green, we're going to do a service event. We'll have more details on that to come, but definitely a good way to give back to the community that loves us so much and provides so much for us during Hobo Week and on Hobo Day for sure.
Awesome.
And then Friday, the 22nd, will be Rally at the Rails. That always happens in downtown Brookings. It'll be at 5 p.m. this year. It's a great way for students and community to get ready and excited for Hobo Day. And so there'll be live music, there'll be food vendors, there'll be options for student organizations to table, to spread kind of awareness of their groups, and then all kinds of other fun activities to do all night long. And so it's a fun rally before Hobo Day itself.
And you really, I mean, it's downtown. That's where the train tracks are. That's where Hobo Day started. It's just a really good way to kind of get into the weekend and excitement to get into Hobo Day, which is Saturday, October 23rd. Tell me about Hobo Day itself.
Yes, so Hobo Day itself starts bright and early in the morning. We have our parade in the morning starting at 9:30. And so student organizations can get involved, some community members get involved, and our parade is huge. We bring in really big numbers every single year. It really is a big deal to a lot of people, both past alumni, current Brookings community, current students, all those things. And so it's a lot of fun to get involved, to watch, to be on a float for your club. And we also even need parade volunteers. So if you're interested in being a parade volunteer as a student, we would provide you a free shirt, some free breakfast that morning. You can sign up for that on our website, and we really would love to have your help.
That's awesome. One thing that I always think is so cool during the Hobo Day Parade, you have your grand marshals, you have your typical floats, but there's always one car who has Weary Will and Dirty Lil. And tell me about that tradition. You kind of have to guess a little bit who it is. May cater more towards the alumni, but I still think it's really cool.
Yeah, so Weary Will and Dirty Lil are actual live representatives of them every year at the parade, are chosen by our Grand Poobah. So this year's Grand Poobah is Marie Robbins, and so she works with some past alumni. Usually they're either very involved past alumni or past Hobo Day committee members. And so even us as the committee, we don't get to know who it is until parade morning either. So we're all in a fun guessing game. But it's usually past alumni who have a deep, deep love for SDSU and for Hobo Day itself.
And then they're revealed at the football game.
At the football game, you'll get to know their names.
That's pretty cool. And a little bit more about Marie, Grand Poobah. Tell me about what a Grand Poobah does. They lead the Hobo Day committee.
Yeah, so Grand Poobah is kind of our head honcho. So she is the top of the top as far as us students go on the committee. And so she oversees all of us on the committee. There's 18 of us this year. So we have Marie as a Grand Poobah, and then we have 3 assistants. So we have an events assistant, a parade assistant, and then a marketing assistant. And then within each of those departments, there's kind of the rest of us that do different events, do different portions of the parade, do different portions of the marketing. So we're all kind of one big team, but the Grand Poobah is kind of our final decision maker. She helps us kind of rally up, keep the spirit going. She really is doing a great job.
Sure. And students can get involved with Hobo Day not only by attending the events such as Hobo Night Live, which is following the football game on Hobo Day, but they can also try to be a part of Hobo Day committee, which is kind of a year-round thing.
Yeah. So we typically take applications for Hobo Day committee in the spring semester. But even now, if you're excited to get involved or you're interested in being on the committee, being a Bumbassador is a great way to get your foot in the door. Whether you just love Hobo Day and you want to be kind of a part of putting it on with a lower commitment, you can be a Bumbassador. But like I said, if you're interested in joining the committee, it's a great way to kind of get your name out there, get your face out there. So we have different ways to do that. We have events Bumbassadors. So really, your job as an event Bumbassador would be to come to our events and kind of help us hype the mood, right? Like build up the spirit, do all the things, show up in your best hobo gear. You're kind of just helping us to run those events smoothly. And then parade volunteers is what we really need, Bumbassadors for the parade, like I mentioned before. A fun way to get involved. So there's 2 ways to get involved with the parade. As a Bumbassador, you can be helping with security, in which you would kind of man a barricade. So make sure no one gets on Maderi that is not supposed to be on Maderi that parade morning. And then we also need drivers. So we'll put you in a brand new car provided by the Brookings Auto Mall. And they're really nice cars typically. They're a lot of fun to drive. And we'll have you driving one of our very important dignitaries. So it could be President Dunn, it could be a governor, all sorts of important names. So you'd really have an integral part in that. And then at the end of the parade, you as the Bumbassadors would get to run back and walk through the parade with us as the Hobo Day committee. And so you'll get to wave at all your friends and family and do all that fun stuff. So really be an important part of the parade.
That's so fun. So if you want to be involved this year, you still can volunteer yet. But say you see Hobo Week, you like what you see, you want to help plan it, you can always become part of the Hobo Day committee by applying in the spring. So there are a few more traditions associated with Hobo Day that I think are important to point out too. We have the 1 month club, and we also have Paint the Town. Tell me about the 1 month club. Let's start with that. There's a 1 month, and is there still a 6 month club?
There is still a 6 month club. We have some dedicated students that do get involved with 6 month club. So 1 month club and 6 month club are the same idea. It's just obviously a difference in the length of time. So 1 month club happened this year on September 23rd, 1 month out from Hobo Day. That's how it always goes. So men will show up to the union either with a clean shaven face or they can get a free straight razor shave from one of the barbers in town. And then for the next month leading up to Hobo Day, you do not shave. Girls, you can also get involved. So 1 month from Hobo Day, you will show up, sign a waiver, And then you will shave your legs that day, and for a whole month, you will stop shaving your legs. And so when it comes to Hobo Day itself, we have judging. So we do men's judging for categories such as longest beard, patchiest beard, best attempt, fullest. For ladies, we do longest leg hair, darkest leg hair, softest leg hair, all kinds of just goofy stuff. Yeah, and we even have one of our committee members. She is participating in 6-month club. So it can be done. You will not get funny looks. It's one of those fun traditions that seems goofy on the surface, but it's so much fun to get involved in. And by participating in those, you really do get to know a little bit more of why people love it.
That's awesome. And then Paint the Town is one thing that community members can visibly see that Hobo Week is among us. So tell me about Paint the Town and the student organizations that help with that.
Our community outreach person actually reaches out to some of the local Brookings businesses, specifically the ones located downtown. And so student organizations from all across campus can work with one of the Brookings businesses, and they get to paint any design they'd like. So it can have their club name, whatever design they would like, whatever colors they would like to include. And so our campus outreach person sets that up with the student organizations and the community. And so you can get your name out there for your club, your organization, and just kind of light up downtown, get people in the spirit of Hobo Day, build up that Jackrabbit spirit.
Tell me, Kelsey, I know that this is not your first rodeo when it comes to Hobo Day. How important is Hobo Day? Like, what is it like seeing students and alumni come together for SDSU's homecoming?
Yeah, so for me, there are a million opportunities on the SDSU campus. There's no doubt about it. But Hobo Day itself is one of those long-standing traditions that you can tell means so much to the people involved, to past alumni, to past committee members. It really does have a special place in so many people's heart. And so Hobo Day and Hobo Week is also one of those things that if you would choose to, you don't have to be involved, and we're not going to make you, right? But you only get out of something what you put into it. So going to those events, having a good time, inviting your friends, maybe being an ambassador, getting involved, you're really going to get to see the deeper meaning behind it and why so many people love it the way that they do. So I would say kind of the best way to learn what it's all about is just to be a part of it. Go to as many events as you can. Bring your friends. Be in the parade, be a master in the parade, and do all the things on Hobo Day and really see for yourself how much fun it is.
Well said, Kelsey. Take notes, students. Participate. Enjoy Hobo Week. Hobo Week is officially October 18th through October 23rd, but get your Hobo gear October 14th, Hobo Gear Prep Night, 5 p.m., the market. Can't wait. Want to see all the students dressed up in their Hobo gear. Thanks for being here today, Kelsey, for speaking with me about Hobo Day.
Yes, thank you for letting me come in and share all of the Hobo Day things. We're excited.
For more information about Hobo Day, make sure you visit sdstate.edu/Hobo Day. You can find more information about the week's events and also the history of Hobo Day to kind of school yourself a little bit more about SDSU's homecoming. This is Between Classes. Thanks for listening.